Hi and welcome along to the Invincible podcast. Joined by my man Lee Judges in the building. Just before we get into the show, just got to remind everybody over there in Kenya that we are heading over to Kenya. We're going to be doing a watch party in Kenya for the Arsenal versus Liverpool game. So really looking forward to that. So Kenya, we are coming and looking forward to that. Looking forward to the second leg as well, right? Now, am I looking forward to it? Am I going to be just snowed under with nerves? Because we are 1-0 down after the first leg. PSG came to the Emirates. They played brilliantly. We got to hand it to them. They played brilliantly. We didn't play that great. And maybe we're a bit fortunate. It's only 1-0. It could have been worse, right? Although we had chances as well. Half time, that's what you got to say about it. It's half time, Lee, and we're 1-0 down. What did you make of that game? How are you feeling? It's the day after. What's your emotions like? Well, first of all, if you calm down.
No, I have.
Because you were there ripping into me last night as well.
I mean, I wasn't ripping into you. It's just frustration of.
You were ripping into me.
I was. But
we're going to have the judge-o-meter later on, right? And I can tell you, he broke it. He broke the judge-o-meter this week, right?
I took it out on you. You know what I mean? But like the frustration, it was just a frustrating night. I got to say, from start to finish, you know what I mean? I'm so disappointed, Robbie. Really disappointed with everything. The performance, again, losing at home in a cup competition. This is not the first time now. Newcastle, you know, Man United. Last season, Liverpool. Season before that, Brighton. Lost to Sporting, do you remember, at home on penalties. All these games at home. And yesterday was I do think it's pressure. The pressure told on us again yesterday, like from the manager, from the players. And it just, you know, people say, the Real Madrid game, we didn't have the expectation brings pressure. No one really expected us to get over Real Madrid. But I think because of what happened against Real Madrid, the expectation was that we should go on and, I'm not saying win the game over two legs, but win at home. And we didn't. And we didn't perform. Manager, you know, got a lot of things wrong last night. A lot of things. Team selection, you can argue about that. And I get that.
Well, we argued about it
We
last
argued
night.
about it. Like, I wouldn't have gone that route, if I'll be honest.
So what route would you have gone then, right? Because the reason why we were arguing last night is that I didn't see you before the game, so I can't say for 100% sure, right? Because obviously we did the watch party at Box Spot. Big up to everybody. That looked brilliant, by the way, right? But in me going to the game, walking to the game, everybody I spoke to was happy with that team selection. We all know Thomas Partey was out. Marino dropped back into midfield. Declan Rice dropping into the 6. And Trossard up front. And I think everybody was kind of like, it's not ideal, but I understand. That's the formation.
Yeah.
You're saying that you wanted it changed around.
I get that, and I understand why he done it. I'm not criticising him for that. I understand why he done it. It's not personally what I'd have done. I said it before the game. I actually said it on Sky Sports that I wasn't comfortable with the midfield because I felt we could get overrun in there. I felt that was where the game was going to be won and lost. I felt that that's where they would have more movement against us and all that. And I felt by putting Marino in there, I think we was going to lose that, and taking Declan Rice out of that position and putting him in a holding role. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I get what you're saying and all that, like, you know, but this is what I was saying. And then I also think by taking Marino out of the front line, where he was superb against Real Madrid over the two games, physicality-wise and all that, I felt was another loss. I would have gone down a different route, and I would have either brought Tierney in at left back and or Ben White. I get the Ben White one weren't 100% fit, so I've probably gone with Tierney. I would have put Miles Lewis-Skelly in there. Now, people like you had it, he's never played in that, like, you know. I would have put him into the holding midfield role, or even in the box-to-box role.
He plays box-to-box role. He's played in the youth team.
So I would have done, but...
So then you still got Declan Rice in the...
Yeah,
the 6.
But you've still got the energy of a Miles Lewis-Skelly instead of someone like Marino. I think that have done well yesterday, but hasn't got the legs to get here and get there and win the ball high up or take on players and burst past players. Which one time we'd done it with Declan Rice, right? we got the chance with Trossard. Imagine if he'd have been doing that 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the game.
And actually, there was another time in which Lewis Skelly
done
burst through.
He done it.
And again, we created another chance.
And you know, one of my mates come back and said, "Oh, like, yeah, it's different playing in the youth team to
it is.
And it is. And I accept that, right? But he's playing in that role anyway. He drops into that midfield. Like there was many a times yesterday from trying to keep a right-sided wide player, who's very good. Yeah, he comes inside anyway and plays that run. Plays it bloody well, Robbie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this kid can play anywhere.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
And I just felt that, for me personally, I said it before the game, and I said it, we lost the midfield battle. We lost the midfield battle. They run all over us in the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes, couldn't even get near them. Declan Rice wins the ball high up and his runs and energy and all that. And I just felt that was the route to go. Now, if you look back, all of my things that I've said before the game, that's what I'm saying. What annoyed me a little bit more about it was I could see it weren't working. I think everybody around me is saying it's not working, got to change it, right? He's on £12 million a year, Robbie, right? He done nothing. He absolutely done nothing about it. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, we're just hoping that you can get something from this game instead of making something happen. And that was my problem. I felt that by going the way we done, we took something out of our front three and we lost everything in the midfield, like, you know. And I think if you'd have put T&E in at left back, I don't think, and look, listen, it might not have worked. I'm not saying it is, you know, but I just think that we needed to match their energy levels in midfield. And I felt that for 25, 35 minutes, we didn't. In the end, we had a little spell where we got it back, but we couldn't maintain it, couldn't take control of the game. I think if Thomas Partey's in there, you know what I mean, then Declan Rice can do all that sort of thing. We can take control of the game. It doesn't help when your captain's not playing well as well, Rob. You know what I mean? It doesn't help.
We'll get to
that in a minute. But I just think that the team selection weren't what I would have gone with. I'm not going out, that's it and all that. But before, when I see that team selection come out, I knew he was going to do that. But someone said to me, what do you reckon on the game? And I said, I've seen the team now. It's touch and go. I felt I think if Thomas Partey plays in that midfield role, we win this game. I think we win it. And at the end of the day, as much as I'm going to criticise Mikel, and I am for this game, you know what I mean, I'll give him praise whenever he likes. I'm not saying that he should be sacked, by the way. I think he can be criticised. And I think his performance yesterday deserves to be criticised. Is it, again, the big question mark comes up, can he get us over the line? That's another performance, another semi-final where we've not performed, right? I also think that Thomas Partey should not be getting away with it. Oh, like, you know, everybody going. He let us down. You know, that game was done and dusted. He's 31 years of age, experience and everything like that. He should not be getting involved in something like that at that stage. And that cost us. We even said on the day, you know what I mean, as much as we were celebrating, it was going, that is going to be a big loss. And the reason it was a big loss, because what it meant was by taking him out there, you got to take Rice out of what he was doing, Mourinho out of what he was doing, and I get that the manager had a decision to make. He should never have, and Jorginho was out as well, knowing that he was out as well, which was about, you know, unbelievable. Because I think if Jorginho was fit, I think he would have played Jorginho.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I understand what you're saying, and you're right. Partey let us down. That push that he did, that was ridiculous. That was like, if Lewis Skelly would have done it, you could understand. Well, not even understand. You'd still be saying he's stupid, but he's 18. He's a big, seasoned, 31-year-old player, seasoned international, seasoned in this competition, in all competitions. He should never have got involved in that, especially at the time of the game, right? So that
should be laughing at him.
And what it meant, as you said, is that we lost. I think what we really lost is, well, we lost two things, like you said. We lost Declan Rice and his driving force going forward. And let's remember how brilliant he was over the 2 legs of that game, playing in that position. He's just now really honed that position, playing brilliantly. Now we've had to move him out of that position. And he was kind of missing on that first goal. Because he must have been thinking that he's still playing in that position further forward. And the way in which Dembele was able to pick the ball up and just run down the middle of the park was startling. You know, if Partey's playing, he can't do that, or he would have met up with somebody who would have challenged him at the very least. So that's number one. But number two, where I think as well it was a big miss was, like you said, Mourinho having to play where he played, which I thought he played all right, actually.
Yeah, he did okay. He done okay.
But we missed his physicality
100%.
up front, right? Because Trossard, as good a player as he is, he has no physicality.
Yeah.
When he receives that ball with his back to goal, he holds on to it too long. He tries to do that extra touch, that extra pass, and he gets it nicked off of him every time. I thought he had a really poor game, even though he had that chance, and you know it was a good effort by him. But where did he have that chance? When he was coming in off wide. When he's coming in off wide angles, he's good. When he's running at people, when he's picking the ball up, facing up people, he's good. When he picks the ball up with his back to people on the half turn, he's not as good. He tries little tricks and that, but he's a lot of, I'd say 50% of the times, he gets caught with it, or they nick the ball for him because he just doesn't have that strength. And that's where we lost the cohesion of the team. And you're right, for the first half an hour of that game, they were all over us. They were really impressive. They moved the ball quick. They were confident. They were brave. What we've seen them of PSG when they played Liverpool, when they played Villa, it shouldn't have been a surprise.
No.
And it was almost like we were surprised by it. And, you know, even walking to the games, like fans, I thought some of the fans were very complacent as well. I thought we'd win the game. I was sort of saying I walk into the game, I saw a fan, I said, I fancy 2-1. He goes, what do you reckon, Robbie? I go, 2-1, but it'd be close. And he goes, nah, Rob, mate, 3-4. I go, what? I go, PSG, they're a good side. I go, look what they've done to Liverpool. Look what they did at Villa. He goes, nah, 3. What we done to Real Madrid? I'm like, yeah. I think, did that Real Madrid victory over 2 legs, as impressive as it was, give us a false sense of security? Where we thought, you know, there's no way they're going to be able to do what they did to us. And they kind of caught us by surprise by a bit for the first half an hour. Then Arsenal grew into the game. That last 15 minutes of the half was excellent for Arsenal.
Play well.
All of a sudden, picked the ball up, intensity, brave, created chances. Donnarumma, at that stage, were keeping him in the game. The Martinelli chance, the Trossard, the save from Trossard, I saw it back. It was a brilliant save.
Unbelievable save.
Right? But we've got to take one of them chances.
Yeah.
I think the Martinelli one, even though it's a great save, could he have done better maybe? It's hard afterwards. But we had chances. Second half, we had chances. Second half was a more even half. But then, having said that, we got lucky because Barcola, when he was clean through, he's got to score that, innit?
Yeah.
And he puts it wide. And at that stage when he put it wide, I said, you know what? I reckon we could go through in the next. That miss there could be a very costly miss for them.
That was the game.
Because I don't think we're going to be as bad as this next week.
That was the tie.
And then I get what you're saying after that. Did we go for it enough in that second half? Or is it the manager thinking to himself, right, if I go gun-ho, bringing players on, trying this, trying that, and we concede again, the tie's over. If I just try and stick in here, maybe we nick one, we get a 1-1, it's still all to play for next week. If we lose 1-0, it ain't over. We got a chance. But if it's 2-0, we're done. So I reckon that sense of, whether it's right or wrong, that sense of caution within his head is why he didn't make changes. Because I think we could all... the one where I think he should definitely have changed it earlier was Odegaard. He was having an absolute nightmare of a game. He looked so out of sorts. It was unbelievable. Even this, normally, he's good at pressing. He was all over the place with the press.
He just had a shot. And the biggest surprise was that he stayed on for so long.
What's happened to him?
He's just lost form. He's lost form, and with that, maybe because of the injury, he's lost form, he's lost confidence. And at the end of the day, now I've heard people turning around, Turkish being one of them, like, you know, strip the captaincy of him and things like that.
That's rubbish.
You don't have to strip the captaincy, you just drop him. You just drop him. You know, then he ain't captain then anyway. You know what I mean? Someone else has to be captain. I think people forget what a good player he is.
Yeah, I was having that argument last night with, who was it? Ryan. He's always arguing. He's saying the same thing. She's never been a captain in the first place. I said, no, the guy's been good for us. He was good last season.
No one was questioning.
He was good the season before. Nobody was questioning that. He's had a bad season. Do we just throw him away?
No, you drop him. Like what should happen? Like in football, if you're not doing the business, right, and it should be like for everybody to be dropped. Let's be really honest about it. This cut, the meat off the bones on this, right? We're playing a Champions League game with 5 minutes to go, right? Would you take Fabregas off when he was captain of Arsenal?
Would I take him off?
Yeah. No.
No,
because he was one of our best players, and you can make things happen and all that. Like, so there's a reason why he's taking him off, because he knows he's not. So do the right thing now, Mikel. He's not playing well. You
drop him for next week then?
Yeah, because there's been too many games of it, Rob. There's too many games of it, And listen, I'm one of his biggest fans. Been trying to stick up for him and everything like that.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. You're not sure. I get that.
I don't think I'll drop him.
But he's playing that bad. Why are you dropping him for? Because it's Martin Odegaard or
no? On
that performance, on his performances. On his performances, he's not been good.
I'd still start him next week. I'd still start him next week.
Why? Because
I
ask the question. Why?
I think if Partey's back, if Declan Rice is back in his normal position, he may play, but we might see a better player. I think it's a huge game. I think it's a captain. I think give him a chance to say, right, Martin, you had a stinker last week. Go out there and give us something. You're the captain. Lead from the front.
Prove his worth.
Go and give us something. And then if he's not playing well, you haul him off and you bring on you bring on Wanyeri. But I wouldn't.
If I'm Wanyeri, whether I'm 18 or not, I'm getting frustrated because I'm seeing a player not doing the business.
Yeah.
Continue to keep playing. I get what you're saying. It's a massive call.
Big call.
A massive call.
Because it's a big. I mean, I would be saying, no, you're the captain. You owe us. Go and give us a captain's performance next week. This is the game. This is our season. All will be forgiven if you go out there and produce the goods.
I look at someone like Bruno Fernandes, right, gets criticised left, right and centre for being a captain. Like, you know what I mean? I don't see Martin getting that same sort of criticism for it and all that,
Because he hasn't done, because Bruno Fernandes has had a good season this year, but he's like the last few seasons he ain't been great. Yeah, well, so that's why he's picked up the stick. Just like Martin's picking up the stick now.
And he should do. He's quality of footballer. Let's get this right. Yeah. People will keep going on about no one was slagging Martin Odegaard off last season or the season before.
No season before. No. Right. People were rating him up there with De Bruyne's and people like that.
Arguing it like, you know what I mean? Like, fiercely came, I'd always
and he was playing well enough to be in that argument 100%. As well. So
he's just lost form, Robert. It's not, we're not having a go at him. I'm not having a criticism. Like, sometimes it can happen. You just lose form, lose. I looked at him yesterday. He looks like a player that would rather play the safe ball.
Yeah.
Because confidence is not there. Like, you know what I mean. And listen, he played a bad ball. Yes, I think it was for a cross, and there was lots of groans and all that. Like, so that gets.
He was overhitting things.
Yeah, he's just not playing well.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if you could, and I think in Arteta's defence, he's tried to play him out of it. He's tried everything. Nothing's working. But I'm not at this camp where everybody keeps going like, right, that's it. Get rid of him as captain and all that. Like,
what's the guy done wrong as a captain? That's what I was saying to Ryan last. What's he done wrong?
He's not He's not led by example. Well, I'll get that.
He's having a bad time, but he still doesn't bottle it. He still doesn't hide in games. He still leads from the front. He's still, to me, captain material. That guy, he'd have the poorest of games. He'll still walk round, applaud all the fans. He still takes it. And a lot of people, they don't understand that captaincy is, it's on the pitch. It's also in the dressing room, and we don't see the dressing room. I remember famously years ago that when Granit Xhaka was getting a captain, I spoke to somebody at Arsenal, and they said, Robbie, he's the natural leader in the dressing room. Xhaka's like, and I was going, Xhaka? When they go, yeah, this is before before that season he had when he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Then when he gets that season, now everyone's like, you should make him captain, right? Because you could see his leadership qualities once he was playing well, started to really shine through. You know, he was captain at Leverkusen, captain of Switzerland. You know what I mean? So mine Odegaard's captain of Norway as well. Look at somebody made that point as well. Look at the players that play. There could be captain as well. You could give the captaincy to what's the name of City? I forgot the name. Haaland. You could give it to Haaland, couldn't you? If you're just giving it to your big name players.
No. He's got something about him, Rob.
So he must have something about
100%.
him that managers are looking at him and thinking, no, he's a leader. He's having a bad time, and I get it. And if he's dropped next week, then fair enough, he's dropped. But to me, I personally would start him next week.
Listen, I'm not going to argue with you that, and I get what you're saying. But because he is captain, that doesn't mean it's it's not ideal.
No, because if you're having a bad game as a captain,
you don't want
he shines through. He shows up even more. I hear that.
So it's not ideal. So it's not ideal to drop him, but it's getting to that stage now where this cannot carry on. Yeah. This form cannot. When I looked at it yesterday, you're taking you're taking Partey out. You're taking Rice out of there. So he's the only one of the three that's playing in his natural position. You've got to lead and you've got to be at your best, and he wasn't. Leave it, take him off, get Wanyeri in there, what I mean? That's where I feel that Mikel again let us down yesterday.
We lost the midfield battle.
100%
lost the midfield battle. They were brilliant in midfield. Neves, Vitinha.
That was the massive decision for me, Rob. It was a massive decision for Mikel to do what he did. And I think that if I'd be really honest about it, I just think he played safe with it. He knew what he was doing, a
bit unlucky, I think he is, right, in that, Partey's out. The natural, because again, this is why I do get frustrated sometimes with fans who are like, yeah, but this is it. It shows that we've got no squad depth. Well, hold on, no.
Five players out.
The guy that's the backup to Partey, he's out as well. He's got broken ribs, which would have been Jorginho.
Yeah,
if Jorginho would have been in there, what he would give you, he gives you balance, because he can also play that role, and he's also a press-resistant player that can receive the ball under pressure, right? So now you've got to move, you've got to jig it around, and like we said, you lost what Declan Rice has been bringing us over the last few games in the Champions League, which is that drive and everything like that. He gives you that drive, Declan Rice, but then he can also get back and help.
He's not an 8, is he? He's a box-to-box player in the Champions League, and that's what you need. And
he gets back in and
he
helps
gets back
out
in, so he plays alongside it. And at the end of it, he's just gone against Real Madrid in 2 games and just run all over them players. He didn't have the opportunity to do that. He'd done it once in the game yesterday. He created the chance for Trossard. You imagine doing that 5, 6, 7 times. And he could do it. But he was too deep to do it. And also with Declan Rice, and I think people don't appreciate how good he is at doing it, he wins the ball high up. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That first 10, 15, 20 minutes, we couldn't get near him. Now, if he's in that role, that holding midfield player has got him coming at you. Not Mourinho, it was a little bit slow. When we had the ball at the back and all, they were on us a lot quicker, because they were quick, moving, agile. We didn't have that ability in there, and that's what cost us.
I must say, the referee didn't help for me, especially in the first half.
It was a shocker.
He didn't allow any physicality whatsoever. When you're up against a team like PSG, I'm not saying about fouls or nothing like that, but you need to be a bit physical, a bit aggressive to sort of counter what they're doing. He didn't allow none of that. And that decision he did when Saka won the ball...
Well, it wasn't his fault.
Fairly and squarely. Well, the linesman.
Once the linesman's give it, you can't... It's a disgrace of a decision.
And he's in on goal.
It's a disgrace of a decision. He didn't even touch him. He stumbled himself. I thought it at the time.
It was obvious. Everyone could see it.
And then to make it even worse, because of the frustrations of Saka, he gets... But I don't blame the referee on that one. I don't blame him on that, because... He has to go with the linesman. He has to go with the linesman.
The linesman was terrible.
Terrible. And then you look at... can someone tell me, why it took so long for the offside? It's clear and obvious it was offside. Can someone tell me why it took 4 minutes?
I don't know. And they've got now that technology, innit? That shows
it wasn't even
really
tight.
Quick. Yeah. They've got the technology that shows it up really quick. I don't know why it took so long. If that had gone in, it would have been a different game. By the way.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the thing that offers us hope? It's only 1-0.
Well,
It could have been 2. Barcola, they even had that chance where they hit the bar. I don't know if that. I thought that was miles offside, but
I don't know. Did the Lions give a goal kick?
They gave a goal kick after that, so they, would have went to VAR. It's only 1-0. Now, there's a chance for Arsenal to go there next week and redemption. I mean, I went to a game the other day. The women were playing against Lyon. I went to the first leg. It was similar in that they didn't play good. Lyon looked sharper. They looked better. Lyon are top side in women's football. Like they've won the Champions League more than any other women's team. And for that second leg, I was like,
I couldn't believe it.
I was saying to myself, them women, they needed to win that first game at the Emirates. They're 2-1 down. I'm like, I don't really give them much of a chance going to Lyon. I think they're going out. But they went there. They were brave. They were tactically way better. And they put in a great performance and absolutely took Lyon apart. And now they're through to the final of the Women's Champions League. The men also have to go to France. Are also going up against a top side. We've seen it. But they've seen it now. They've seen what PSG have got. They've seen what they can do. Can they go there and do what the women did in France and turn this around? It's going to be really difficult. But I saw things that I think they can use next week. Number one, as we know, Partey will be back. So, but what that brings is not just the fact that, because I know it's only one player, but you got to understand what it does to change the whole dynamics of the
100%.
midfield. That means, to me, Trossard comes out. You've got him as an option that can come on later on for a Martinelli or. You put Marino down the middle, who's been threatening in these games with his physicality, can hold the ball up. And Declan Rice is back to doing what he can do best. Set pieces, they, to me, yesterday looked all over on every set piece.
Yeah, weren't comfortable, were they?
They weren't comfortable. I think that's an area that we can exploit. The disallowed goal came from that. Excuse me. Oi. Lee, can we go there and turn around that one? It's only one. If people were saying it to us when we play Real Madrid, if they get the early goal, and they had 3 to get.
Yeah.
What if you get an early goal over there? What if you get? You don't even have to be early. It can be 0-0. You get a goal.
Listen, we can go there and win. There's no two ways about it. We've gone to PSV and got 7. You know what I mean? Like they weren't no mugs.
Our performances away from them have been very good.
Have been very, very good. Our performances at home has been where we've been let. I feel let down.
Yeah.
Right. What worries me is the Newcastle game when we had that same thing going up Newcastle when we went up there as a damp squid.
Yeah.
Can we go to Bayern Munich last season and get? We did. It was needed to. A draw would have been good to take to the penalties. Didn't perform again. Didn't perform in that game. Lost 1-0. Could have, went out on a wimp. If I'll be really honest, that's my biggest worry. My biggest worry is that we, what Arsenal team is going to turn up. And do you know what? I don't care what anybody says. Oh, Arsenal fans and all that. Yeah, we should. Bloody too right. We should have gone into the Emirates yesterday with our chests held up, puffed up, and thinking we can win that game. We just smacked Real Madrid 5-1 over. Yeah, we should be going in there thinking we're going to win the game. I don't condone any fan that was thinking that yesterday. But at the end of the day, when I watch the games and I watch under Mikel Arteta, it's foul when it's a big game. He has got somewhere along the line. He's got to get. Otherwise, otherwise, I'm
looking at next week. Could either be a glory week or a horror week.
And I'm sorry.
Because straight after that, you got to go Anfield.
Yeah, well, imagine what you're going to Anfield. All that sort of. I think. Do you know what? I'm going to be really. Do you know why I've been a bit prickly over the last few days because of what's gone on with him, seeing him all celebrating and everything like that. Like, you know what I mean? And again, us missing out. I think that, like yesterday, all right, well, we got the Champions League, you know what I mean? We go out against the Champions League, you've got to go up there all taking the mickey and everything, like, and you got out, you know what I mean, like out the Champions League as well, like, you know what I mean?
For a week, man.
You're in Kenya, you're all right, like, you know what I mean?
Still be horrible.
So it'd still be horrible. And I think that's something that's made me a little bit, I'm not happy with what I've seen at Arsenal at this moment in time, because I still see a very, very good team. I see a team that can, as we see against Real Madrid, are capable of doing it in both sort of scenarios. You know what I mean? I was panicking about, what I was like in Madrid. I thought, it could easily go wrong, because I've seen what Arsenal, they were fantastic.
They handled the pressure.
They handled the pressure of that game. But yesterday, when the pressure I think was more intense to win that game, and they just blew it. And
all right, so could it work in our favour then next week? Because most people are going to expect that we're going out, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that could be something to do with it. Like, the pressure's a little bit off now. You know what I mean? Like, the expectation is...
Could it be...
It goes on to them.
And they've not handled pressure very well over the years, PSG.
Yeah.
That's been a criticism of them. You remember that famous game with Barcelona where they threw away, like, was it a four-goal lead?
Three or four, yeah.
They've had other situations where they've thrown away big leads and that.
Lost in the semi-final last year.
Yeah, they've choked a lot. Could it be because the pressure's going to be on them, because the expectations now
is that they're through?
They're playing brilliant football. They've turned over Liverpool, their Villa. People have been bigging them up and saying how great they've been. Those expectations from their fans and from their media and everybody next week is they're through.
I see vulnerability in there too. I see it at Villa. I even see it last night. They're not the best team that's come down to the Emirates and played this season, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think so. I didn't think we was that good yesterday.
Yeah.
With the midfield that we had out and the way we played it, we still created lots of opportunities and all that. Like, and in the second half, I think there was one where we should clear it better, and we ricochet off and all that, like, whatever.
I mean, if we would have got that goal, right, if that goal had been given, it would have been very interesting to see their reaction.
I don't think that they was, I think at the end of the day, sometimes we turn around and say, oh, that's a great team, PSG, to hide away our deficiencies.
They are a great team, though.
They're a very, very good team, but they're not the best team that I've seen at the Emirates. I'll tell you that now. This season, but I've seen
they
better.
are the best team I've seen this season.
What, really?
Who's been better than them this season at the Emirates?
That's been better?
This season?
Yeah.
Who?
Newcastle. When they beat us 2-0.
Yeah, that's true. You could argue.
That was a proper
team.
They
were very good.
Right?
Very good. Because I think, you know what? I actually agree with you, because Newcastle, defensively as well, they were
didn't give us a sniff all game.
Whereas with PSG...
There was.
You get chances. Their goalkeeper yesterday was brilliant.
Yeah.
So you get chances. As bad as we were, you get chances. Arsenal got to go there next week. Got to play a brilliant. Like I said, like what the women did. They were perfect. They were brilliant. Yeah. And when the chances came, bang, they took it.
Yeah. And so, like, I just think that we can do it. The way that Mikel is and the way Arsenal are, I have my doubts, because I do think, like, bottling it is something that we're going to have to get used to with this team in a minute. My mate said yesterday, which is a good thing, if they do lose on over there,
Wednesday,
there needs to be changes, massive changes at this football club. And I went, what do you mean? He said, like, the team needs to be like, there needs to be a big change in the team mentality. If you're not going to get rid of the manager, you've got to get rid of about 4 or 5 players. Like, and I went, oh, really? I said, well, I think we're only 1 or 2, like, you know what I mean? And he went, no. Mentality of this football club's got to change, and I think that it has. You know what I mean? So there will be casualties, I think, on this side. Listen, I'm not. The Mikel Arteta thing's going to come up again.
Right, if you don't win next week, it's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up
for sure, because
and rightly so. It's got to be questioned.
You would have not done it in the league, and you would have not done it in the Champions League. I mean, both of them, you're close,
and not performed. Not close. You go into the semi-final. And this is what worries me against Newcastle. Credit to Newcastle, they've done us on both games, but they didn't allow us to perform, or we didn't perform, or whatever. You cannot keep going to the deep into stage, like the final stages and not do it, Rob. Yeah. And continue to not, you can't go to the Champions League semi-final and not produce over 2 legs. You can't go to a League Cup semi-final and not produce over 2 legs. You can't go to a game against Manchester United at home with 10 men at home and not produce. You can't go to for the one and only time that the Premier League's in your hands for the whole season was last season against Aston Villa at home and foul again. And continue and continue and continue and continue and continue. There's got to be somewhere it's got to stop, and you have got to get over the line. And this is it.
Yeah.
This is it now. And it's a massive test for the players. Massive, listen, we've got injuries, we've had injuries, but no one was talking about those injuries when we beat Real Madrid. I look at it yesterday, and this is where something else has got to change for me. And I'm not having a go at the youngsters on the bench and all that, but I pay a lot of money for my season ticket. I see 4 players warming up that are never going to get on in a Champions League game. They're never going to get on in a Premier League game. They're asked many years from now, what was your Arsenal career like? Well, I warmed up on the Champions League nights 15 times and the Premier League 33 times.
It shows how big the squad is that he's got 4 youngsters for such an important game.
And
just to fill out the squad.
I know we've got injuries, and we've got
awful injuries, but like you said, we did it against Real Madrid. We just didn't turn up. We did. To say we didn't turn up, I think we
didn't play well.
Right, we turned up after about half an hour.
I don't think we played well last night. I
overall,
know
we didn't. No, not to what
overall game.
I think we didn't play well, and I think they played very well. I think in the first half,
Rob,
they were very good.
So would we be if they give you all the space that we give them.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Martin Odegaard, right? Let's put him in Dembele's position. Like, every time he got the ball, there was someone on him. He was having to dodge out of people and all that. Like, Dembele in the 3rd minute of a game in a Champions League semi-final has got more room than we've got in here.
Yeah. And he's
if he stood here, if we stood us in the middle there was 10 yards, no one near him there, 10 yards, nowhere near him there. That's wrong.
He's the most dangerous player.
He's the most dangerous creative player they've got. Great finish.
Yeah, people are talking about him for a Ballon d'Or candidate.
Great finish.
And he's getting so much room. He was mad.
And it's not the first time. This is nothing against Mikel Arteta. Like Man United in our other semi-final. We've played in 2 semi-finals now in the Champions League. Right, I haven't scored.
Yeah.
Haven't scored. Got beaten on both. 2 Champions League games at the Emirates. Semi-finals. We've lost both. You know, it's not just Mikel Arteta. It's an Arsenal thing at this moment in time. We've got to be more ruthless and make sure that we get through. Listen, it ain't easy to get to a semi-final. It ain't easy, but you've got to be able to do it. And
to get to a final.
No, as we well know.
Listen, to get to a final is what I said. I was saying this to my daughter yesterday. And people need to recognise this. It ain't easy. That's why to win.
You said to me on the phone yesterday about this.
You win the Champions League is difficult. You got to have... Most of the winners...
It's not going to be straightforward.
It's not straightforward. Most of the winners have had some serious adversity along the way that they've had to overcome. Whether it be Real Madrid, they've done it multiple times. Overcome situations. Remember they beat City that time?
Yeah.
They're on their way out. And somehow they find something that gets them through. They were on their way out. City were dominating the game. City were winning the game. They found something. When Chelsea went and won it, they found something. You know?
Spurs against Ajax.
Spurs against Ajax. They're down. They're out.
Gone.
They found something. We've got to find something next week. Players have to step up and play the game of their life. This is how you get to finals. This is how you win it. You do extraordinary things, right? You turn it around. Everybody's saying PSG are through. Everyone's saying how great they played. You now have got to go there in that second leg. Like what I saw those women do the other day. You got to go there and say, you think we're out? We ain't. We're coming. And we're going to... Second leg, it's a new game. That's in the past now. Watch what we're coming with this time. That is what we want to see from this team. The women did it. Can the men do it? And, you know, the fans got an important part to play. I know you weren't happy with some of the criticism of the fans. I thought the fans were all right. Obviously, when you're really up for the game, which fans were, they're really up for it, probably too confident. When you concede after 4 minutes, obviously that's going to knock you back a bit, where you're going to be like, oh dear. And when you're sort of seeing your team getting outplayed for half an hour, that's going to knock you. But I don't think we were quiet. I still think the fans were getting behind the team. I saw some of the criticism, like Wayne Rooney saying, and what's that all about? The fans were all right.
Wayne Rooney, the fans let Arsenal fans let the team down. Like, well, they know all about letting down. You know what I mean? Like, ask Plymouth and their fans. They'll tell you. The second thing on that, right? And this is what really annoys me. And I don't want people like Wayne Rooney, and who's got nothing to do with Arsenal, getting on about this, right? Because I'll tell you this now. We have got a fantastic atmosphere at the Emirates, which has been built up over the last 3 years or 4 years when it's been quiet and all that lot, what other teams haven't got, and they don't like it, so they think, this is a chance to have a dig at the Arsenal, and that atmosphere last night was fantastic. Even when we went a goal down after 3 minutes, we were singing songs and all that, I'm not having that, right? And then I get people turn around and say, right, well, look at all I could hear was PSG fans and all that.
They're winning. They're winning, and they're great fans.
And they are great fans.
I've said this before. The PSG fans, I know you know Stuart Prison in London. They're great fans. Next week in their place, it'd be rocking. I've said this.
It's the best atmosphere I've been into an away ground.
Yeah, they're brilliant, right?
But
we were loud too. It was a great atmosphere in the stadium.
But they should not be where they are at the Emirates Stadium. They should be up out the way so we can't hear them, right? Put some bloody netting around them, and we try and, that's it. Because we do not have an advantage at home in any Champions League game. Now, we was at Real Madrid last week, or the week before, whenever it was a fantastic atmosphere. Now, I've spoken to people, home supporters, Arsenal fans who are in the home end, right? I said, why? What was it like in it? We couldn't hear you. What do you mean you couldn't hear us? You're so far up there. We could hear you. We could see you jumping around. Couldn't hear you. It was fantastic atmosphere in there.
It was the atmosphere that the Arsenal fans created at Real Madrid was no different
to what that was.
To what the atmosphere, to what the PSG fans created.
But we cannot hear.
But like Lee says, when you've been put up in the highest part of the ground, away from everything,
in a corner
with netting around you, that kills. Like you said, you can't be heard. Every single ground you go to in Europe is the same thing. Right?
High up,
whether it's
netting.
a big ground or went to Girona. Only about 15. Was it? What that ground hold? 20,000.
Not if that.
They put you in a corner where you can hardly even see, with double netting around you. You can hardly see. You're away. You're in a subdued area. Basically, we go to Inter Milan. You're in the highest, great ground of San Siro, atmospheric stadium. But where they put you, the highest part of the ground, double netting, stuff like that. You go to Sporting, up, double netting. Even when we're trying to chant now, they got ultras down in front of you. You let off about 1 billion flares.
Yeah,
so we couldn't even see for about 10 minutes. Right, because through all the smoke. It's ground after ground. Bayern Munich, same thing. These are great stadiums, but these guys are smart. They put the away fans in areas where they know they're going to kill your atmosphere. Why? I agree with you, Lee. Why is it that we have fans down the bottom? Right there. Bottom tier, right behind the goal atmosphere. Not only that, they get mate and bringing their drums. Arsenal fans, I remember there was one of the guys, they said to me, they bought their drum, got confiscated on one of them games. No, you're not bringing it in.
Flares are banned.
The amount of flares, they lit off, they had fireworks going off yesterday in the PSG end when they scored. When we go abroad, remember we went to...
Can't even take a battery phone with you.
Went to Girona, your battery charger. You had to
take that to Madrid.
They had some dustbin full of them where they're taking them off for fans.
Yeah.
No, you can't bring those in.
Treated completely different, we are.
Why do we allow that? Why do we allow it? So every fans that comes to the Emirates gets the best treatment, the best atmosphere, everything. Put them up in the top tier, behind netting, like what happens to us.
And then in the Premier League, right, the fans can come back down there, No netting and all that, like. And then for every time we play a European team, you put them up in the gods, you put as much thick netting as you can get round there, and you leave them up there and not hear them. And keep them in there an hour after the game, like they do with us. And you would not have that atmosphere yesterday. Now, I at the end of the day, yes, it's fantastic that they've got, but they must be loving it, like PSG. They don't get it anywhere else. If they're going to Barcelona or Madrid, they're being stuck up there as well. Like, so they're going to enjoy it when they come to our play. This is like luxury. Look at us. We ain't got no netting. We're in the front here like, Emirates is the place to go, or Tottenham's ground's the place to go, or Man United or whatever, because it's great to go to England. Do what you like.
I saw their end last night. There were about 3 guys in there with megaphones.
Yeah.
Right? I remember I said, we couldn't bring a battery charger into any of those stadiums that you've gone to. None of them. They got about 3 guys in there with megaphones. Not just them. PSV had it when they came. Yeah. Like, all of them have had it when they've come.
PSV guys stick you right up in the corner.
Like that. They got like 2 guys with drums. They got flares going off left, right and centre. Where's the searches for? How is that able to happen? Something needs to be done. I'm with you on this, Lee. Something at Arsenal.
And we will never...
And all the English clubs need to come together.
Yeah, and
right, that are in Europe and say, no.
We're not having it no more.
Because every time these teams come over...
They have an advantage.
And listen, this is not a hate thing on these teams, right? This is not a hate thing. It's not ain't like a Brexit type vibe on football, right? But all I'm saying is, if we can't have that when we go to their grounds, we're lower tier, we ain't got all that netting, then we shouldn't be doing it for them. Because it is an advantage. The guys at Brighton told me that the reason why they're moving the fans next season from behind the goal to more in the corner is that they've done research on it and said that when fans are directly behind the goal, it's an advantage. You know, it's a I think they measured it in percentage of how much percentage of it gives you, and they said over the course of a season or in tight games, it's an advantage. Why do we do it game after game?
And then you get like people saying, "Oh, you can hear the PSG fans and all that." Like, you go to PSV, you're under netting and a glass or plastic perspex. PSV, to dense it even more. I see their players celebrating all together like yesterday when we were celebrating at Real Madrid. You can't even it's pathetic.
Yeah, something has to be done with it.
Something has to be done about it. At the end of the day, yes, fantastic. I've heard a load of people go, all I can hear, you got outsung by PSG like yesterday. Like, yes, they wouldn't. Get them out of the way and see if they're outsung by them. And we will never ever have a fans advantage until that is sorted.
Yeah, and Newcastle needs to be included in that as well.
Yeah, Newcastle, I chuck Newcastle fans up there like.
Yeah, Newcastle fans as well, because they put you right up in the...
So that's another one. Newcastle fans, every other team in the Premier League can come down. Newcastle fans, you go up top. Yeah. We won't, I'll tell you what, we'd be nice, we won't put no netting up for you lot, because you don't do it for us.
We sort of we do like a Donald Trump here, tariffs. Tariffs.
But it does spoil the atmosphere.
You do it to us, we do it to you. Simple as that.
And I think it's something that's certainly got to be done. It's got to be done. People go to me like, right, I've got nothing against Newcastle fans.
No, me neither. I'm always bigging them up.
But fantastic away from the ground. Someone goes to me, what do you reckon, like a couple of Newcastle fans have come up to me in the past, what do you reckon of Newcastle's ground and atmosphere and all that? I don't know. What is it like? Because you don't know. You're cocooned up in the top there, like, you don't know. What was the atmosphere like at Real Madrid the other night, at the other time? I don't really know. It sounded all right, but you're so far out of the way, you don't really know, like, you know what I mean? You know?
They said they closed the roof. We could touch it.
Well, you could do like that. The bleeding eaters coming down on you, didn't they? Like, you know what I mean? Like, listen, it's a fantastic stadium and all that, but at the end of the day, I'm not having it when they go, they're outsung us you and all that, like, you know what I mean? You could hear them all night, you know what I mean? Yeah, put them out of the way and see if you can hear them. Don't forget then, when that bit round the corner, that would be all another lot of Arsenal fans in there, like, and you wouldn't hear them so much.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
Lee, I want to ask you, obviously, you may not know it. We've actually got a game on Saturday against Bournemouth. By the way, I see that Evan Nilsson.
He's been
red cards.
And rightly so. Rightly so.
Ridiculous. Again, VAR checked that. I watched that game, that United game, which, by the way, that cost them. They were winning 1-0, Bournemouth. And then when you got that red card, that's what allowed United to sort of come back in the game and they equalised. So yet again, these referees in this country and VAR, it's been proven again they're not fit for purpose. Because the referee only gave him a yellow. The VAR said to him, go and check it. When the VAR went out, I was listening to Alan Smith. He was doing a commentary on the game. And the commentators can hear the VAR. And he goes, I'm listening to the VAR. And at not any time have they advised the referee that, the player slipped. Because he slipped. And that's why that tackle looked that bad, right?
It's not a tackle then, is it?
Exactly. So that's been overturned. So Evan Nilsson's going to play. They're going to have a very strong side out Bournemouth. They're a good side. They beat us earlier on in the season when we went down to 10 men, by the way. What team would you play for that game? On the horizon is the biggest game of the season by far, bar none, against PSG at the Parc des Princes. We're playing Bournemouth, but then we're not sure yet we're going to get second place. There's still the top 4 to secure. What team would you put?
I don't care what team he plays, right? But 2 players don't play in it, and that's it. The rest, everybody can play. It's an important game. Got to win it. Got to get points for Champions League because we're not going to qualify Champions League by winning it if we don't, because that will look like we're going to go out, and we're still not guaranteed a Champions League football. So it's a massive. Right,
so let me just run you through the Champions League place. Obviously, Liverpool then won the league, 82 points. Second place, Arsenal, 67 points, played 34 games. Newcastle are now 5 points behind. They played 34 games. 34 games also for Man City, but they're 6 points behind. And 7 points behind in 5th place is Chelsea. Nottingham Forest also on 60 points in 6th place.
So
but they've got a game in hand. So if they won that game in hand, they'd be on 6. So at the moment, we're 7 points clear of the zone which would knock you out of.
Right, so we need two wins.
Yeah. To be absolutely
Bournemouth's
assured.
a massive game and Southampton is a massive game. Like, we ain't going to beat Liverpool and we're not probably going to beat Newcastle. Right, so we've got to win this game.
The Bournemouth game?
Yeah.
So you go with a strong team, or would you just... Give me your team.
Raya in goal. Ben White.
We've got no choice on that, have we?
No,
because
Ben White.
Neto can't play anyway because Bournemouth's this club, isn't it?
Ben White.
Yep. So you leave out Timber.
Yeah. Saliba and Kivior. That's the first time they've lost, by the way, since they've been a partnership. But I'd keep that partnership. Tierney at left back.
Yep.
Party.
Ooh.
Does he need a game? Does he need a game?
Continue your team anyway. Party.
I'll say Party. Shinchenko. Wanyeri. Sterling. Trossard. And Marino.
He's playing on the left.
Trossard.
Oh.
No Martinelli. No Saka.
Marino's just
no Rice.
Remember, Marino had a knock going into yesterday's game.
Still think we've got to win it. I still think we've got to win it.
That good enough to win it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm happy with your back four. I mean, I would have wanted to rest even those 2 centre backs, but you can't. There's no one else. This is the problem with all the injuries we've got. Although they were saying Calafiori was getting near, innit?
Well, if Calafiori's fit, who would you leave out?
Well,
you can't leave Kivior out. He's still... I think he's been brilliant, by the way.
He has been.
Give him some credit.
He has been. He played those... Yeah, I think your back four. I'm not sure if I'm playing Partey, man.
So who's
because to me, if he gets injured or something, and I don't want to play Rice.
No, Rice does. Like, I'll be furious if Rice is playing in this game. Furious.
I guess, all right, you play Partey just because he ain't played last week, but I'm hauling him off early. Partey, midfield of Partey. What about Lewis Skelly then?
I'll play.
You've been talking about. See, look at that. I've got you. I've got you, right? Because you've been going on
I'm
about
resting Lewis because I think he's
But then you could play him in that position and let's see what he could do, innit?
He could do that. But the reason I'm saying Partey is because when was the last time Partey played?
Yeah, well, last week.
Did he played at
He played against
Crystal Palace last Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that's 2 weeks since his last game.
All right, Partey.
So if he doesn't play Partey, it's 2 weeks since he played.
Actually, listen, I'm going with you. Partey, Zinchenko, Wanyeri. I'm tempted to play Odegaard, just because he's got to try and get himself into some sort of form.
Yeah, I'll go along with that then. I'll go along with that.
So I think
Wanyeri
I'm playing Odegaard. I'm putting Wanyeri on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I'm putting Sterling.
And then Trossard up top still. Or Marino.
And Trossard down. Trossard. I'm resting Marino because he just had a knock. I'm resting all the key guys. Because to me, there's enough of a buffer between second and fifth.
I don't even want to see Rice on the bench because I don't even want him thinking, I'll put him on.
Rice has to be rested.
If he's not sitting in the stands, I'll be annoyed.
Full rest. I mean, it'd be a tough game. Bournemouth are a good side. We've seen that. And Bournemouth, I think even if we did play all those main guys, right? Bournemouth are going to, they put a lot of
still turn us over.
They put a lot into that game, so Bournemouth could still turn us. I want to see players rested. That game next week Wednesday is one of our biggest games.
It's not about being rested.
Not even just a season for years.
It's not me being that they're getting rested. It's protection.
Yeah, protection. Yeah,
I'm not saying I want to rest Saka or I don't want to rest Rice. I'm saying I don't want you anything.
Yeah, because there's players like Rice. We lose Rice, we can't help.
And for a game against
Saka, Saka could be Saka. Stay at home. Rice stay at home.
Martinelli,
like you said, he put a lot of work in.
Watch the snooker.
Martinelli rested
on the bench.
Yeah, rested.
I want to see. I want to look up in the box and see Declan sitting there, Saka sitting in there.
Yeah.
Right. But I want to see so unfortunately Martinelli, you're going to go on the bench. A couple of other players, Timber maybe on the bench.
No, Timber stay at home.
Stay at home.
He came off the other night. He's vital, right? He's a vital player when you got those wide players. What's going on there? Right? He's a vital player when you got those players. I want him rested. I want him relaxing at home, protected, arm guards.
Yeah. What? Because I'll tell you what,
armed guards at Declan Rice's house, right? If any coaches or anybody comes near, they turn the guns on him and say,
no, you're not
stay
moving.
away.
Stay away. Arteta's you're not having him. You're not having him. I don't want to see them.
Actually, no, I take that back because I remember what Lee said earlier on in the season. Got himself in so much trouble. So I didn't mean armed guards. I didn't mean it. Please take it like how I meant it as a joke before you...
So I'm listen, I don't mind if Declan Rice is just on the bench, doing a few stretches. Just keep yourself ticking over for Wednesday, but you ain't coming on.
No, I don't even. Because
they can do what those 4 subs.
I don't even want him warming up. He could do his hamstring warming up.
I like watching. I like seeing Declan.
They might ask him to do a warm down at the end of the game. He could be running down the pitch and pick up an injury there. Nope. Stay at home.
I feel that I don't listen. I get what you're saying because if it's 0-0 or we're 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, there's the temptation to bring them on, isn't there?
Yeah.
I don't want that temptation, right? You know what I mean? So I'm not. Yeah. I'm with you on this. You know what I mean?
Prediction for the game, Bournemouth.
Well, I think we need to win it, so I'm going to go 2-0. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a draw.
I'll go 2-1, and I'm going to say that I want to see a performance out of Arsenal because I also feel that all these little drawn games here and there is not good when you're going into a big game. Even though PSG lost their game last week, try and get that winning thing into ahead of this game.
And I think there are places up for great. I like myself now. I'm saying to Wanyeri, go out there on Saturday and put in a performance.
Yeah.
That will turn around and go, right, I cannot leave you out for a player that's playing so poorly.
Yeah. Or if I have to call upon you, I know I can call upon you immediately. Yeah. Right. Before we go, Lee, we've got the judge meter, right? Which I could say, right? The judge meter this week, right? I don't think the judge meter has ever been under this amount of stress and pressure. The guys actually said to me that they think it might be out of action for a few weeks after this week's judge meter. Let's see it right now.
My team would have been Timber or Tierney at left back and bring in Miles Skelly into midfield because I didn't want to lose what Declan Rice does for us in midfield. Not only do we lose Thomas Partey in this game today, by the way, he's got to take a lot of play for it.
1 second. So who would you have played as?
He's done it again! I've told you how many more times I've got to tell you! Skelly in midfield, Declan Rice stays insane!
No, but where's...
I'm saying wherever holding midfielder, Rob!
You were angry, man.
Do you know what? I look at that now, right, and I go, that's not me.
It was you.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but that's what the emotion of a game does to you, like, you know what I mean, and things like that. I can safely say now I'm totally different to what I was last night. You know what I mean? I didn't sleep last night. I'm angry, walking around the house. You know what I mean? Like,
you ain't got no pets, have you?
I haven't got no pets.
Thank
like,
God for that.
Like,
you know what I mean? The RSPCA would be
like,
around his house, right, rescuing cats, dogs, everything.
You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't. I'm just annoyed, just angry, and all that. And then I wake up in the morning, and you see it differently.
Yeah, it's true.
You do see it differently, like, you know what I mean? And I look at that, and I just think, like, you know, I'm just so. I'm up there. I honestly thought Arsenal were the real deal, and they've just shattered me.
Yeah. Ryan, you know what I want you to do, Ryan? Yeah, for next week, after the PSG game, if we win, it's the big if, we need a happy meter.
Yeah, happy meter, like,
right? Because I'm sure that you'll see completely different guys. So we need a happy meter if we win.
I think, like, you know what I mean. Look, listen, I'm not defending it or whatever. I've always been the same. If we win, I'm probably over the top. If we lose, I'm like that. I'm very, very down. It's the way I am. Like, someone said to me yesterday, like, how can people be not you know, like, level-headed after a game like that? I'll tell you what. Please go and watch Jordan. You know, like,
yeah, he was very live. I saw his video.
It's fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, now he cares. I know that he cares and he gets it up and all that. But he can come on after a game and be cool.
Yeah.
And I sat.
He's got that. Cool,
yeah, he's got that cool vibe. But I've got that as well. You know what I mean?
No, you wait.
But like, you wait. When I see Jordan, I'd love to be able like that.
When have you got that cool? I remember you in LA. Those were friendlies.
I can't help it. Like, you know what I mean? I get away from football. I'm as placid and as a likeable guy. Like, but when I'm at football, I ain't. I can't help it. Like, but when I look at Jordan and I think, like, I'd like to be like that after a game. But not everybody is, are they? Like, you know what I mean?
Even me, I'll get stressed, man.
It's really like, you know, I'm watching the game. They're going to score now, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean? Like, my mate's going, hold on, you know, it's a goal kick, Lee. What are you going to have? Like, I'm thinking, no. I just see it all. You know what I mean? For me, we're out. We've gone. It's done. But other people will be going, no, we can go. I've coming down today, like, people are going, we've still got the second leg, we'll do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people very optimistic.
I'd love to be like that.
I think we can still do it. I think it's going to be very difficult. But to me, you've made the point today. Mikel Arteta, those players, if you want to be the best, these are the games you've got to win.
Yeah.
Adversity. Not everything's going to be 3-0 up here, you're going to be 4-0 up at home and everything's going to be sweet. No. It's when you've got to suffer. You've suffered and you've got lucky that it's a one game, two things. There's no away goals. And also, you've got lucky at the fact that you still got a chance to turn it around. Now can you? Can you go and do something that you've been failing to do repeatedly, as what Lee said, Second leg against Newcastle, other second legs that we've seen. Can you go and deliver? That is what we're going to find out.
Someone said, I want to clear this up about the away goal, because someone said to me, the away goal rule don't really matter because we've still got a score in Paris to go through, which is true. If we could actually win out in Paris 2-1, and the away goal rule then
that would have helped us then, wouldn't it?
It helps us. But what I'm saying is, when you're 1-0 down, when we've been there before,
yeah, when
it's an away, if they get a second one,
yeah,
you know what I mean, like 2 away goals. What I'm saying is, when they went 1-0 up, the thing is, like, they're a little bit more cautious to go for the second one, so that helped us a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that's where
actually,
I'm saying.
Actually, under the old away goals rule,
it would help us.
It wouldn't really.
It don't really matter.
We know we still would have to score one, but if you score 2, then they got to score 3.
Bring
away goals back.
Bring it. What I'm saying is, from that point of view, from our point, losing 1-0 ain't about. But what I'm saying is, they scored after 3 minutes, and then they think to themselves, right, if we get another one, but I think to myself, it doesn't matter if we get the one now. We can just do this.
Still in the lead.
It's still in the lead. Ain't the end of the world.
And even though they need that one just to get it level at our place.
Yeah, So I'm telling you, if that was the away goal rule, that they would have got the second. They would have
went for the second.
They would have gone for it and would have been a little bit more trouble, you know. So listen, we if I'll be honest, if we are to win out there, 2-1 would probably be the score, and that would be enough to get us through on the way. Could go penalties.
Yep.
And we know what
Ray's
like at penalties like. You know what
Rare on penalties. I forgot, man.
I can't believe how big their goalkeeper is, by the way. I didn't realise how big he was.
He's huge.
You see, like when they was like, I couldn't believe it.
Penalty shootout against him. That's what happened with Liverpool, innit? And they were terrible on him.
Yeah.
He's a big lump.
Yeah. And listen, Liverpool beat them up there. Beat them over there, 1-0.
Even though they got battered.
They got absolutely battered.
And they won 1-0.
Yeah. So anything can happen.
Anything could happen. We'll find out next week, guys. We're going to be out there for the game. Very lucky to be there at the Parc des Princes. So only 2,000 Arsenal fans. They've limited the tickets. But looking forward to that game. And we're going to have it all covered here on AFTV. We've got another big, even bigger, the biggest watch party we've ever done is going to be taking place next week, Wednesday, at the Box Park in Wembley. If you want to go to that, you click the link in the description and get all the details. Not click the link in the description. You have to visit Box Park's website to make sure you book a place, because that's going to be rammed out. It's a massive game, right? Big up to the guys from Box Park. But Box Park, Wembley, next week, Wednesday, the game is massive. Lee, thank you very much. We look forward to the game against Bournemouth and then the big one next week. In the next 7 days, we're going to find out a lot about Arsenal Football Club. Hi, we've teamed up with UK Auto Claims to see if you could be eligible to score thousands in compensation. If you've had any cars, vans or motorbikes on finance between 2007 and 2021, go to ukautoclaims.co.uk to start your free simple check. Loads of you will have overpaid and payouts could be worth thousands. So you've got to look into it. Hit up the link below and check now for free.